on the West Virginia Mountaineers in Morgantown.
Troy, only 3 head coaches of Mizzou have won their games.
This is Tailgaters.
I want to welcome everyone in and thank you for tuning in to Tailgaters, where we take you around the world in the name of sport. I'm Cameron Redler, hoping to put on a show as good as the Kansas City Chiefs defense.
And I'm Troy D'Souza, hoping to not have a performance like Ryan Fitzpatrick. Coming up on the show, we will decide who's the best in the NFL, the coaching carousels, and the Cinderella on ice.
So much happened this week, we thought it'd be best to tell you about it with some rapid headlines.
LSU fired head coach Les Miles and offensive coordinator Cam Cameron on Sunday, following a loss against Auburn. Miles won a national championship with the Tigers for the 2007-2008 season and has the highest winning percentage of any coach in program history. Ed Orgeron will serve as the interim. Orgeron has been a head coach at Ole Miss and served as head coach at USC in an interim basis in 2013, going 6-2.
As the NHL season starts back up, the World Cup of Hockey is winding down. Only 2 teams remain: Europe, the Cinderella that no one expected much from, and Canada, the powerhouse Olympic gold medalist. Europe defeated Sweden in OT to advance to the final, while Canada dominated the Russians in their semifinal. The David vs. Goliath final starts Tuesday and will be best-of-3 format.
NBA legend and future Hall of Famer Kevin Garnett was bought out by the Minnesota Timberwolves and subsequently retired. Garnett entered the league at age 19 and retires at 40, spending most of his life as an NBA player. Garnett is an MVP, Finals champion, Defensive Player of the Year, and a 15-time All-Star.
His teammate in Boston and Brooklyn, Paul Pierce, also announced his retirement this week, though it will come at the end of the 16-17 season. Pierce is a 10-time All-Star and shared a championship with Garnett in Boston during the 07-08 season. Pierce is playing his final season as a member of the LA Clippers.
Heat President Pat Riley says he believes that Chris Bosh has played his final game for Miami. The All-Star forward's latest health setback apparently convinced the team that a return from multiple bouts of blood clots is no longer feasible. Riley told reporters Monday that Bosch's Heat career is probably over and that the team is not actively working toward his return. Bosch has been an All-Star every season since 2005, and it remains to be seen where he'll go from here.
You know, sometimes when a career is so spectacular, it ends in similar fashion. Think Kobe, Jeter, Peyton. Vince Scully is widely considered among the greatest sports broadcasters ever, and during his last broadcast for the Dodgers, it was only right that they'd give him a chance for one last great call. Bottom 10, tied. Let's take a look.
0-1 to Charlie. Swung on a high fly ball to deep left field. The Dodger bench empties. Would you believe a home run? And the Dodgers have clinched the division and will celebrate on schedule. Leave it to the Dodgers. Charlie Culberson, a game-winning home run. What a moment to have it. And would you believe his first home run of the year?
Troy, I don't know about you, but the Chris Bosh story really got to me. A guy who's made every single All-Star since 2005. Suddenly, his playing career is in doubt. Which one of these stories to you really caught your attention?
Definitely. I mean, obviously a lot of big stories all around, but, you know, as an avid NBA fan myself, that in addition to Kevin Garnett retiring, you know, growing up a player, a lot of people, especially our generation, kind of watched, even obviously missed some of the earlier years, but, you know, his time with the Celtics, especially, you know, the big ticket, that trade, how that big three came together in that era. So with him and Paul Pierce, hanging it up, especially Pierce after the end of the season, it's going to be interesting to see. And obviously, you know, we had Tim Duncan, we have Kobe, now KG, at the end of the season, Paul Pierce. A lot of future Hall of Famers in this class.
You don't think any NBA teams are going to give Paul Pierce a send-off, do you?
I think so. I think it's warranted.
You think so?
I would say so. Obviously, Boston, when his last game is Boston, I think it's in February, something like that. That's going to be very, very emotional. Maybe the Brooklyn Nets, No, that's
Probably
not going to happen. It's not going to happen.
Hey, we'll see. The other one that caught my eye big time was Les Miles firing.
Absolutely.
The all-time best winning percentage at LSU. He won a national championship with the Tigers, and now suddenly gets the X, arguably a second away from beating Auburn and probably keeping his job. I would say probably a bit premature, but you can tell they've had this on their mind for a while.
Yeah, he's been on the hot seat.
Yeah, there was some speculation last year as well about his firing. I don't necessarily agree with it. I really like Les Miles. What do you think?
I agree. I like him a lot. I think, obviously it's amazing how much that 1 second could have changed the outcome of, his future with the team and how the team plays. Now they're struggling. They're fighting now, but obviously they got a good guy in there as interim coach. So I think they'll be okay. But, I was a little caught off guard too. I definitely think it wasn't that time. I feel like they should have waited it out a little bit. But, obviously very surprised. The offense coordinator gone as well. But when you look at the rankings, they were 12th in the SEC in a lot of statistical categories offensively. They haven't been doing too well offensively.
Yeah, Ed Orgeron looking to take over an offense that, as you mentioned, struggled. The very first thing he did as the interim head coach was, in fact, fire Cam Cameron.
Yeah.
Cam Cameron. It'll be interesting to see. He says he wants to spread the ball around more, go downfield, maybe take carries away from Leonard Fournette. That'll be interesting to see. But again, this took me aback. Shocking to me. We'll see how LSU responds this week against the Missouri Tigers and moving on. They still got some big games, namely Alabama coming up.
No pressure.
No pressure at all for Ed Orgeron.
Yeah, but that's all for this. When we return, we'll break down Week 3 of the NFL. Keep it locked. We now welcome in 23 Sports guest contributor Dillon Heeb. Dillon, how's it going?
It's going good. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. We got a lot to talk about coming up in the third week of the NFL. Lots of activity in this past week. One of the most anticipated matchups this weekend was between Giants and Redskins, specifically Odell Beckham Jr. and Josh Norman. Those two are among the top at both their respective positions and have had bad blood in the past. Who do you think played better this past matchup?
Obviously, this showdown this year was not what was last year. But if I had to choose, I would have to go with Odell. He went 7 catches, 121 yards. The only thing that they did lose, however, was he lost the emotional battle, as I'm sure a lot of people saw on Twitter, social media, and whatnot. So,
yeah, I'm going to disagree with you for that reason exactly. I think Josh Norman won for one, emotional reasons. Josh Norman didn't get hit in the face with a field goal net. And on top of that, Josh Norman won the game, and I think that's what ultimately matters. And yeah, he did get the 100 yards on the 7 catches, but he also didn't score a touchdown. Josh Norman, I think any game you can keep Odell out of the end zone, I think is a win for your defense.
Definitely. You kept him out of the end zone. That's the big deal. Obviously, Odell's got this, freak athleticism and speed. He's got to use that to his advantage, but obviously letting Josh Norman get inside his head, and, he lost it. On the sidelines, we'd see him constantly frustrated, yelling and screaming, getting hit by the practice net. A lot of frustration there, and he's definitely got to figure that out. Even their coach was saying that he needs to control his emotions and become less of a distraction for the team. So
now, how do you feel about that yourselves? Because there have been histories in the past of kind of these diva receivers, the Chad Johnsons, the Terrell Owens, Randy Mosses. Odell Beckham now the latest in that line. What do you guys think about that?
I don't really mind it as much, but when it becomes detrimental to your team, that's where it's okay to have be a hothead. Obviously, he's one of the best receivers in the league. He can showboat, he can flaunt it a little bit, but at a certain point, it kind of it's detrimental to the team. It hurts.
Yeah, I'd have to agree. Mainly because of the fact of the distraction. One guy's just arguing, especially teammates arguing and whatnot. So I agree with Troy.
All right. There are only 5 remaining undefeated teams in the NFL after this week: the Ravens, the Broncos, the Patriots, the Vikings, and the Eagles. Guys, which one of those do you think is the best?
This was tough. Every single one of those teams is a very solid team, but I decided to go with the New England Patriots. Bill Belichick is some sort of wizard. He tends to get it done with the little that he has, especially with going with Jimmy Garoppolo and rookie Jacoby Brissett. And it's crazy because they are actually ranked the 5th ranked offense in the NFL going into this week. So I'd have to go with the New England Patriots.
I agree with you 100%. The fact that they're 3-0 with wins against good teams like the Arizona Cardinals on the road, minus 2 of their best players, I think just says wonders about this team. I think Bill Belichick, if we didn't already know already, is just even more confirmed that he is without a doubt the best head coach in the NFL, and it's not even close. The margin is probably a whole football field. If I were to put it into football terms, I suppose. I'm going with the Patriots.
Yeah, you know, having a primetime game on a short week with your third-string quarterback, beating a playoff team by 4 scores, that's a lot. That's a lot. The Patriots consistently getting it done, but obviously, you know, the list is pretty long. Like we're saying, a team like the Vikings kind of coming out and being surprising. You know, holding the Panthers, the defending NFC champs, to 10 points, holding Aaron Rodgers to 2 scores. Their defense has been stout. Don't know if Sam Bradford's the answer, but so far he's been doing well. And obviously, take a look at the Broncos. Trevor Siemian's look great as well.
Yeah, I think the Broncos, people are sleeping on the Broncos for some reason. The defense is still just as good as it was last year. Historically great defense. Yeah. And truth be told, Trevor Siemian right now looks better than Peyton Manning did a year ago. And if last year's form of Peyton Manning could win a Super Bowl, I have no doubt that this year's Trevor Siemian could also get it done, or at least make a deep playoff run.
Yeah, absolutely. One of the teams were, you know, also not really considering as much the Ravens. You know, they ended up in the 3-0 spot. You know, Joe Flacco and company, Steve Smith, Mike Wallace. Somehow they've managed that. Maybe a sleeper team?
Maybe. You know, in the postseason, Broncos are not a team to be trifled with. Playoff hardened. I will say this, their level of competition hasn't quite been up to par as some of these other teams, and their winning margins. No victory has been by more than 1 possession, so they've kept it close, narrowly squeaked by. I don't know if that's a recipe for success moving forward.
Yeah. And also the defending NFC champs, led by reigning MVP Cam Newton. They are now 1-2 on the season following their loss to the Vikings. Is there some cause for concern in Carolina?
I'd have to say no. The 2 teams that they lost to were both undefeated. Really great teams that they're reckoning with right now. Still a lot of football to be played, obviously. I'm sure Cam Newton's going to get done for sure. I'd have to say for sure that they're not in any trouble.
I like their chances to win the division. So in that sense, no, I'm not that worried. But I don't think this is the same team that made it to a Super Bowl a year ago. They already have more losses, or as many losses if you include the Super Bowl loss, as last year's team. And it's the way they're losing, too. I understand it's against good teams, but just this past week, the offensive line gave up 8 sacks to Cam.
Yeah.
Very uncharacteristic of that line and of Cam to even hold the ball that long and take it. One of the most maneuverable quarterbacks in the league. The running game hasn't quite been there as much as I think people would like to see. Jonathan Stewart needs to step up. The addition of Kelvin Benjamin back from injury has definitely helped. But the 2 early losses, granted to good teams, and the offensive line issues, I think, is cause for concern moving forward.
I think definitely there's a little bit, like you said, in the division. I don't anticipate it being too difficult, but obviously the NFC South's always kind of up in the air. But, you know, with strong coaching, deep talent, veteran leadership, I think they'll be okay. But, like, you know, a lot of points of concern. As a whole, I'm not too concerned. But like you said, the offensive line, the sacks, you know, Cam's been taking a beating since the very beginning.
Another thing a lot of people don't really account for is complacency. And this team just bullied their way to the Super Bowl a year ago. I actually read that Ron Rivera, a couple times during training camp this year, had to sit his team down and give him a stern coaching because he felt the team was getting a bit complacent. I don't know if that's necessarily still an issue, but I definitely think it's something to watch out for as we move forward. I mean, the way the ease they made it to the Super Bowl a year ago, it wouldn't be surprising in the least bit.
Definitely.
So, Dillon, thank you for joining us today and sharing your insight. When we come back, we'll pick a dingus, a winner in Toronto, and try to decide for LSU. Stay if you bad.
Thanks for sticking with us on Tailgaters. Sunday was one of the most tragic days in recent sports memory. It started Sunday morning when news broke of 24-year-old Miami Marlins ace Jose Fernandez passed away in a boating accident.
Yeah, Troy, just absolutely tragic. The young ace of the Marlins, Rookie of the Year winner, 2-time All-Star. Only at the age of 24, was a perennial Cy Young contender, and what it seems like just an overall great guy. People just love to be around him.
Definitely, his passion for the game has been something that's just, you know, been shown through his play and through his work, you know, outside of the game. And he's coming off the Tommy John surgery in 2014, returned to this dominance, and he was killing the game, you know, this past year. Just very sad incident. And, you know, last week he posted that picture of his girlfriend showing that she was pregnant. Obviously, just very tragic in every way, shape, and form.
Yeah, you know, I think baseball gets a bad rep for being a bit stiff, being a bit boring, and this guy was anything but. He was electric on the mound. He was electric off the field in the dugout. Just a magnifying presence. Sounds like an overall just great guy.
Yeah.
And the manner it happened, too, just so suddenly and abruptly. No one saw it coming, obviously.
Yeah.
How could you? just a sad day for baseball, sad day for the Marlins. If you saw, the Marlins already retired his number.
Yeah. They put his number in the mound as well. Like, a lot going on for him.
And how about that Marlins response too?
Right,
D.
yeah.
Gordon, first at bat, and then the game gets canceled the day of the tragic incident.
Right.
The day after they come back and play, D. Gordon, the very first batter, steps into the box, uses his helmet, stands on his side of the plate, takes
Everything.
a pitch, and then he flips around and hits his first homer of the season.
It's incredible. This is why we live for sport. Such an iconic moment right away.
That's going to go down as one of the great sports moments of maybe not just this year, but of all
Of all time, definitely.
He said he never hit a ball that far before.
Yeah.
And he was saying, if you don't believe in God, you better start.
Yeah, I was talking to his teammates about that, and I mean, obviously we can agree something magical definitely happened. Whatever you believe in, there is some magic to that.
And on top, they got the win as well.
Absolutely.
Man, I think it took the whole sports world back.
Yeah, everyone from around the league, around sports in general, everyone's kind of talking about it. It's very tragic all around.
He transcended baseball. He transcended sports.
Yeah.
R.I.P.
Yeah, his story is incredible, man. And the day also ended in sadness as well when it was announced that golfing legend, the King, Arnold Palmer, passed away at age 87.
Yeah, Troy, another one, just same day. Like, I can't believe that. Unreal. One of the all-time great golfers.
Definitely.
And one of the great all-time ambassadors for the sport of golf. What
Absolutely.
people maybe our age especially don't understand about Arnold Palmer is when he wasn't golfing, he was running charities and opening hospitals and going on late-night shows and was just the ultimate ambassador to the sport of golf. He really brought golf into the TV age. What people don't realize as well, co-founder of the Golf Channel. So anytime you turn on TV and you can literally see what he's done for the sport.
Right. Absolutely. He's one of the best, in the sport, and also a businessman, philanthropist, like you said, an ambassador, friends with lots of the presidents. He received the Presidential Medal of Freedom in 2004. And, obviously he's just been overall fantastic, not to mention coming up with one of the best drinks we've ever seen and tasted.
I don't know if he just put his name on it or if he came up with it.
Whatever he did.
But being affiliated with the Arnold Palmer drink, it's a good move. That's a great drink.
It's fantastic. I love the drink personally. I wish I could have one right now. Obviously, one of my go-to drinks. What a great guy. 62 titles on the PGA Tour. His level of dominance was also something that we haven't. It's been a while.
Yeah, I mean, really, he was the middleman between Nicklaus and Tiger Woods as that great.
Definitely.
Just unlike Jose Fernandez, on the older side, people kind of saw it coming.
Yeah.
But just because you see it coming and you know it's going to happen doesn't make it any easier when it does. So yeah, Sunday. What a horrible day.
Yeah, terrible all around, for sports fans. But Cam, I think we should lighten up the show just a little bit before we head out.
Sounds good to me. Roll the video.
It was boneheaded. It was stupid. He's a dingus. I don't know what else to say about it. I wish I could get inside his head.
Dingus, I think, is the accurate
That's
word.
the only word you could use to describe it.
You could rate it dingus.
I would. Almost definitely would.
It's fair to say, certifiable dingus.
Yes, I would give him the certificate right now. That's what he is.
Certifiable dingus. Certifiable dingus. Troy, many good contenders this week, but one stood out above all the rest. That would be Ashley Ward, who conflicting reports list her as the team photographer or a ball girl. Not quite sure, but it doesn't matter. Here she tries to catch the opening kickoff, only to get drilled in the face. Troy, what was she thinking?
She was trying to make a catch. I've seen people do it. Normally they're standing up. She was like crawling on her knees to try to catch the ball. I just don't know how you could think that would end up be a good idea.
I will say this: at the Mizzou game this past weekend, there was a ball boy tried a similar thing. Even had a ball in one hand, and he still got it done. Caught it.
Somebody needs to sign him maybe.
Maybe, or maybe she just needs to go to his school of ball boying, ball girling,
photography, whatever it is.
Whatever she is.
We need to,
step your game up,
She has
Ashley.
to figure that out. Then she's got to figure out how to catch the ball. Come on, you can do better.
You can do better.
Provided some good humor for us to lighten up the mood, obviously. But that will do it for this week. Head over to our website at mutv.missouri.edu and follow us on Twitter and Instagram. Be sure to like us on Facebook to stay up to date on everything here at MUTV.
Also, make sure to check out MUTV Stream for all of the latest movies.
For my partner, Cameron Redler, and everyone here in the studio, I'm Troy D'Souza. Good night.